quiet coastline stretches beneath the towering cliffs of Table Mountain, where open grasslands meet the calm waters of Table Bay. Long before streets, skylines or harbors existed. This landscape belonged to the Khoikhoi, whose small communities moved with the seasons, guiding cattle across the plains and living in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Thin trails weave through the grass, while smoke rises gently from reed shelters, carried by the sea breeze toward the mountain. Seabirds glide overhead, seals rest along distant rocks, and the only sounds are waves rolling onto an untouched shore. For countless generations, Table Mountain watches silently over a land shaped not by walls or roads, but by wind, water, and the footsteps of its earliest inhabitants. Everything begins to change when sails appear on the horizon. Wooden ships slowly anchor inside the natural shelter of Table Bay, carrying explorers and settlers from Europe. Longboats reach the shore, unloading timber, tools, and supplies as rough tents rise beside the beach. Shrubs are cleared, fences are built, and the first wooden storehouses begin to stand where open grass once stretched uninterrupted. Small gardens are planted to provide fresh food for passing ships sailing between Europe and Asia. Ox carts creak through muddy tracks as more settlers arrive, and a modest fort gradually takes shape, marking the beginning of a permanent European settlement beneath the mountain that never changes. As the decades pass, temporary structures give way to lasting stone. The small fort expands into the powerful Castle of Good Hope, while neat, whitewashed Cape Dutch homes spread steadily across the plain. Church steeples rise above the rooftops, windmills turn steadily against the coastal breeze, and rows of oak trees begin lining dusty streets. The harbor fills with merchant ships from every corner of the world, their towering masts creating a forest of timber above the water. Sailors, traders, soldiers, enslaved people brought across the Indian Ocean, and local communities fill the growing settlement with constant movement. Warehouses, docks, and markets expand along the shoreline. As Cape Town evolves into one of the busiest trading ports at the southern tip of Africa, another transformation arrives as British rule replaces Dutch authority. New flags fly above government buildings while elegant Victorian architecture begins standing beside older Cape Dutch homes. Schools, churches, railway stations, and civic buildings reshape the growing town with grand stone facades and wider streets. Steamships gradually replace sailing vessels inside the harbor, their black smoke rising above expanding docks, where cranes lift heavier cargo than ever before. Railways connect the waterfront with the interior, while horse-drawn carriages share busy roads with electric trams. Tree-lined avenues, public gardens, and thriving commercial districts continue spreading outward, turning a once modest colonial settlement into a flourishing city beneath the ever-present silhouette of Table Mountain. The 20th century brings an even faster pace of change. As evening lights begin glowing across the streets, automobiles steadily replace horse-drawn wagons and concrete. Buildings rise alongside historic landmarks. The harbor expands with massive breakwaters, dry docks, and industrial facilities capable of serving ships from every continent. Factory chimneys release smoke into the sky, while apartment buildings climb higher across expanding neighborhoods. Paved roads weave through the city, suburbs spread toward the foothills, and aircraft occasionally cross the sky above a port that has become one of southern Africa's most important gateways. Through every decade, Cape Town grows without losing sight of the mountain that has watched over it since the beginning. Growth accelerates as modern Cape Town emerges. Tower cranes dominate the skyline, lifting steel and concrete into increasingly taller office buildings, while multi-lane highways replace older roads. Container ships now dwarf the elegant sailing vessels that once crowded the harbor, and traffic flows constantly through an ever-expanding network of streets. New industrial districts, apartment towers, shopping centers, and commercial developments reshape the city's profile. The skyline becomes more complex with each passing year, blending historic churches and colonial buildings alongside glass towers that reflect the changing light of the bay. One of the city's most dramatic transformations begins near the waterfront, where construction crews gather around an enormous new project. Giant cranes assemble the sweeping curves of Cape Town Stadium, raising massive steel arches piece by piece against the backdrop of Table Mountain. Roads are widened, parks are landscaped, and modern transport links improve the surrounding district. As the gleaming white stadium reaches completion, it becomes a symbol of a confident, global Cape Town, welcoming visitors from around the world during the 2010 FIFA World Cup and permanently changing the city's skyline. Today, modern glass. Skyscrapers rise above the central business district, while centuries of history remain carefully preserved below. The Castle of Good Hope, Victorian churches, and Cape Dutch buildings continue standing among contemporary towers, creating a city where every generation has left its mark. Along the V&A waterfront, restaurants, hotels, yachts, museums, and bustling public spaces attract visitors from across the globe, while enormous container ships continue arriving beside luxury cruise liners. Trains, buses, bicycles, and thousands of vehicles move through an intricate urban landscape that stretches far beyond the original settlement. Yet despite every road, harbor, railway, skyscraper, and stadium built over nearly 4 centuries, one landmark remains exactly as it was when the first Khoikhoi herders crossed these plains. Table Mountain still rises above Cape Town, unchanged by history, silently watching a place that has transformed from a quiet Dutch outpost into one of Africa's most recognizable and vibrant modern cities. At its feet, the story of Cape Town continues to unfold, where nature, history, and progress stand together beneath the same timeless mountain.